Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. We were not planning on doing an in-depth review of this bike for a month or so. However, because of the amount of views that we've received and the amount of questions, we thought it might be apt at this point to do a more in-depth review, since our last one was mostly about why we bought the bike and the unboxing. So the bike fits very nicely right here behind my seat, just like I was hoping that it would. I'll get a picture from the other side. Kind of tucks in nicely back there. We drove up the canyon yesterday. It rode very, very nicely right there. Okay, so I've taken the little saddlebags off and I've mounted my GoPro up here in the front. So we're about to take this on a ride. So I rode it up to Peter Sink's turn off, and there's campers in there. You know, that's a fairly long pull, and I used you know, mostly the throttle to keep me doing between 12 and 15 miles an hour up that. I had it set on 2. Because honestly, I really wasn't comfortable going any faster than that. The washboards in the road, that fresh gravel, I mean, you're right. This really, I mean, this isn't meant to be a mountain bike style bike with the no suspension at all. So those washboards and whatnot, I mean, they jar you pretty good. And the big tire, I'm sure, sucks up some of that. And if I had a little bit less pressure in the tires, it might help a little more than that. The problem I would see about putting less pressure in is that potentially you could bend a rim, you know. So definitely fun though. We've put about 30 miles on the bike so far. 15 of them down in Smithfield in an urban setting, and 15 miles up here on dirt roads and and trails. So let's talk a little bit about our experience with that. The urban part of it, this bike performs, in my mind, outstandingly. It is fun to ride. It's got a little bit of a lag that you get used to. It's kind of a weird feeling, which you get used to it. Right. Part of that fun factor. When my mom called me, she asked me to come over to the house. Instead of jumping in the car or the truck for that 2 miles over to her house, I hopped on the bike. Probably made it there just as fast as had I done it in the car. it's because it's fun. It's the fun factor involved in it. So
Right.
for that purpose, for the purposes of riding around in an urban setting, for running an errand, for going to go get groceries, for the purpose that we bought it in Moab when we're camp hosting to run it around in a campground.
And around town.
We are very happy with how this bike is performing and the fun factor.
Right.
As it pertains with running around on the dirt roads, we do a lot of boondock camping. One of the reasons for us purchasing this bike was if we're in an unfamiliar area and we're going to go down a road, we wanted to be able to scout out that area first. And to go down a dirt road, it has its limitations, but I expected that. It doesn't have any suspension on it. And even my mountain bike has suspension on it to take some of those jars.
Right.
Going down 15, 18, 20 miles an hour, you hit some washboard on a dirt road, it gets challenging.
Hang on.
Just expect that. I expected that, though.
Right.
So
But that's kind of what we anticipated. I mean, a dirt road that you're going to go boondocking on is not going to be glass.
Right. So it's living up to our expectations. It's not, I haven't found that limiting. But keep in mind, if you were to buy this bike specifically for trail riding, dirt trails, gravel trails,
Which
you may find that challenging.
He had to test it out.
So, yes.
Even though that's not what we bought it for.
There's a small, it used to be a Jeep road. It's kind of evolved into a side-by-side four-wheeling motorcycle road. I would not take my truck down it because it is overgrown so much you just scratch the truck to bases. In areas it can get quite steep and it's quite tore up and rutted up. And I took the bike down it. The brakes work fantastic. I can say that. And when I was coming up some of it, and I will show some video of that. I did put the GoPro on a helmet cam and came up it. It's hard to be able to, distinguish grades with the GoPro like that. Just suffice it to say, it's a steep bugger. And that's not what this bike is meant for. It came up the road. It went down the road fine, braked fine. It came up the road. It struggled a little bit, as I expected it would. It doesn't have real knobby tires on it. There were times when the pedal assist would overpower.
It would spin.
There were times when it would cause the rear tire to literally spin in the loose, steep, gravelly dirt road. And but
without the front tire on the ground, it's a little hard to control.
Yep, popped the front tire came off the ground a few times just to give you an idea. Now, is that why I bought this bike? Absolutely not. I am not going to just run down that road. That's a four-wheeler motorcycle road. It did okay. That wasn't my expectations. If that's your expectations, you're going to find it challenging. A couple of cons about the bike. In the time that we've rode it, one of the things that I'm a little disappointed in is this little rubber grommet that they utilized to cover the charge port. It does not seal. I mean, it kind of sticks in there. It would definitely be a source of water intrusion if it was raining, wet. So for me personally, I don't want to get any water in there. I'll probably try to remember to carry, put in one of the bags, some Gorilla Tape just to tape over that in case it gets rain, if we get into the rain for any reason. One of the other things is, it doesn't come with a drink carrier.
Be nice.
It'd be nice to have a drink carrier. I'm sure you could probably get a drink carrier for it from some bicycle shop.
I've seen one that someone modified and put on the handlebars, or on the shaft that goes up to the handlebars, so it's possible.
Some of the reviewers have complained about the handle grips. Personally, I like the handle grips. I like this flat area for my palm. It's comfortable for me. What about you?
I found at higher speeds it wasn't super comfortable in comparison to my pedal bike. But it did okay, and I think part of it is because it didn't have any suspension, and so I felt it a lot more in my hands. But as far as pedaling goes, it was great, especially on the non-pedal assist. My concern was how it would perform, and it did great that way.
Yeah, you mentioned to me that was one of her concerns, was because it is a heavier bike,
Right.
how difficult it would be to pedal it, and
it was great. So
Angie said that she was very happy with that. Now, another con on this is that when you do have it folded together, there's nothing to hold it together. It can wiggle apart. So our solution to that
Velcro
was just an 18-inch Velcro band. I looped it around the front fork and then around here, held the bike sandwiched together, and I think that's how we're going to get around that.
Right. So really, for cons, there's not super many for what we purchased it for what our expectations were so far with the miles we put on it. There really hasn't been, and I think that another one might be in our future.
Yeah, we know that the price is going to go up. You know, we've received the email from Lectric.
Right.
It's just probably not in our budget for the next month or two. Might be something we think about a little bit around Christmas. We're headed to Alaska.
Right.
All next summer. We've already been offered and committed to a camp host position in Alaska. So by the time we get up and head to Alaska, I'm pretty sure we'll have 2 of them.
Right.
But probably isn't going to happen this fall.
Yeah.
So Angie's going to probably use the bike for the most part running into Moab, not to do the grocery shopping. I'll probably get a lot of use of it running around the campground, you know, checking sites and whatnot. We'll definitely get some use out of the bike, and so far we're really happy with the bike. It has met our expectations. It's been fun to drive. But with all of the questions that we had received, we just wanted to throw out this quick little review that if you are leaning towards this bike as a mountain bike type bike, you're going to find that very challenging with this.
Well, it might be like a 1980s BMX bike.
Yes,
with no suspension.
It rides a lot like my BMX bike when I was growing up.
Except for it's not light enough to hop it around.
That's true. And I'm a little bit heavier than I was when I was 12 years old riding my BMX bike around. But because of the response that we've received, we'd like to welcome a whole bunch of new subscribers. And hopefully you'll enjoy our channel and following Angie and I's journey. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll know when our next video comes out.
Yeah.
So
until next time, safe travels.
Thanks for watching. Take care. Well, I'll be honest with you. If I had to